My amp unit. Boy, oh boy, do we have a story developing. Whether in the kayfabe world or outside of it, that's pretty much been blown up, I think we can agree. But whether storyline or these ladies are just having a lot of hate toward one another, regardless of what it is, this is one hell of a ride now. This is all we needed from day one. We never needed Charlotte Flair. What am I talking about? I'm talking Ronda and Becky Lynch and where this is headed. And I tried to make this story part of the Amplified podcast for this weekend. A big episode 10 for the podcast. We're celebrating 10 episodes. We're going to bring back Amplified Q&A. I already took the questions. I'm not accepting any more. That's already been answered, actually, that portion of the podcast. Over an hour we filmed for that. That'll be on this weekend's 10th episode podcast. We're bringing the Fastlane preview onto that podcast. We're going to talk Roman Reigns. We're going to talk Tori Wilson's Hall of Fame induction. We're talking all of it. And I tried to put Ronda and Becky on that show, but this is just taking on a life of its own. For those of you that are not aware, once Raw went off the air, Raw in itself saw Ronda Rousey beating the hell out of Becky Lynch. But when Raw went off the air, this is actually on WWE.com, you could check it out yourself, she went back into the ring and she started laying into Becky Lynch some more. I absolutely believe that was part of the storyline, no question. But if you watch the bows getting hammered in, Ronda was laying in on some of those. Especially at the end, before Ronda left the ring, she laid in a kick right into Becky Lynch's leg that was pretty stiff. And the whole time Ronda Rousey was yelling out, "Tweet about it, bitch! Tweet about it!" And Becky Lynch the whole time was basically no-selling. All of these hits from Ronda, these punches, these kicks. And when it was all said and done and Ronda left the ring, Becky Lynch smiled at her. The whole time no-sold it and then smiled and started yelling back toward Ronda. The whole time Ronda was yelling, "You're gonna tweet about it? Tweet about this, bitch. You want to talk about my husband? You want to tweet about my husband?" That's what Ronda was screaming at her. I think there's a mix going on here where this is absolutely storyline and they're letting them go full throttle, but I think it's taken on a life of its own that not even WWE was aware this was where it was headed or where it was going to go. But I'm loving it. But on social media, Ronda Rousey actually used the F word when it comes to pro wrestling. Fake. Now, even for fans like myself, I hate that word. Because when you look at pro wrestling and what pro wrestlers do, it's unlike anything else in the world. So it's really not fake because there's nothing like it. Professional wrestling is very original. You can say it's scripted. You can say planned. You can say choreographed. That's all fine. Fake? Too many people have gotten paralyzed in that ring, have died in that ring, have gotten injured to the point where they can't even walk anymore. I don't like that word. But Ronda Rousey took it a step further. And this looks to be like it was in the trailer after Raw went off the air. I'm not exactly sure where this was, but I think it was in a trailer when Raw went off the air. And she was getting her hair undone, and you know, what the females do, they get undid after their performance, after their show. And she was being interviewed, most likely for her YouTube channel. And she was asked about a bunch of things. I want to play you guys a clip from this. This is only going to be about a minute and a half, but I want you guys to listen carefully to everything Ronda Rousey is saying. She lays into WWE fans, WWE management, and really hits Becky Lynch hard. She breaks kayfabe to the point where it's shattered. She absolutely destroys kayfabe. And again, the biggest fans that got dissed here was the LA fans for booing her out of the building last month. They totally get trashed here. But she goes on about how the entire WWE universe, she no longer cares about them. Screw them. they want to cry and bitch about, oh, Ronda's breaking kayfabe, and then she goes on to call professional wrestling a bunch of names. I'm going to let you guys hear about it. And again, as I told you guys in the Raw review this past week, this is a full throttle heel turn. Some people were like, no, this is a 50-50 heel turn. This isn't really a heel turn. You listen to this, what Ronda Rousey is about to say, and then you tell me it's not a real heel turn, and I'll say you're bullshitting yourself. It's about a minute and a half plus. Listen to these words, guys, and then come right back. We'll talk about it.
I'm not worried. Becky pissed me off the most recently. I promised. You know what? I don't even call her Becky. Rebecca Quinn talked shit about my husband, and I told her I'd beat the fuck out of her next time I saw her. And guess what? I beat the fuck out of her, didn't I? They booed me out of the stadium. And it was just such a slap in the face. I'm just like, you know what? Fuck you people. Fuck all you guys. Like, even Los Angeles. They don't have any fucking pride in their own city at all. They don't. Oh, the Lakers are winning now. I'm gonna go for Lakers. Oh, the Clippers are winning now. I'm gonna go for the Clippers. I don't think anybody fucking knows the Rams are there. And the fucking Dodgers got booed out of the stadium at home during the World Series. You know what? That whole city is just a bunch of people who are fucking transplants. They're trying to escape shitty-ass fucking Ohio, wherever the fuck that they're from. And they have no pride in LA. And they're gonna come to our fucking games and shit on our teams and say, I'm fucking from Los Angeles. I've been living here for 10 years. No, you're fucking not. So it's been bubbling up in me since then.
Tonight when you were giving your promo, and...
It wasn't a promo. They gave me other things to say. I didn't fucking say it.
Oh, really?
That's the thing. It's not a fucking promo. It's not an act. I'm not going out there and doing their fucking act anymore. They can say it's part of the act to kind of try to save face to everybody else, but it's not an act. I'm going out there, I'm doing whatever the hell I want, and they can explain it away however they want, but fuck them. Everybody, WWE Universe included. I meant that I'm going to disrespect the sport that they all love so much. Oh, don't break kayfabe, Ronda. Wrestling's it's scripted. It's made up. It's not real. None of those bitches can fucking touch me. The end.
Damn. What do you guys think about that, man? Ronda Rousey coming right out and just calling it point blank, scripted, made up, not real. She wanted at first, if you go back and listen to that ending, she wanted to say the word fake. She caught herself. That was awesome. That shows you that she still has that respect for the business, even if she is going this character, this side of the storyline. And again, I truly believe this is storyline, guys, no question. They're just turning it up to a level we've never before seen. I don't know how it's being done. I don't know if Vince is letting her drop these F-bombs on her own. You gotta believe he's aware of it. Triple H is aware of it. WWE.com has the post Monday Night Raw beatdown of Becky Lynch, even with her no-selling and smiling. You gotta believe they know about this and they're just letting it flow, because I honestly believe they want this to be the WrestleMania main event, and I think they know what the Amplified man said from day one in November, that they don't know how to book it. And I told you guys nobody was going to be interested in Ronda versus Becky for WrestleMania, because WWE wouldn't know how to book it. They would book this thing into the ground. They'd be on a fast lane, all right into the Atlantic Ocean. Legit. They don't know how to book Ronda and Becky. And we've seen it. They've botched it from day one. Ever since the Rumble, Becky Lynch has been hopping along on one leg. That's it. I always make the joke, Mattel's next action figure of Becky Lynch is going to come complete with crutches. You can't have people going ballistic and thinking she's this superhero, strong badass if she's always limping around, getting her ass kicked 75% of the time and 25% of the time with the help of her crutches, beating someone up. Ronda, she's out there every week giving hoorah speeches about going for your dreams and obtaining your goals. That's not the UFC badass foul mouth that we loved in UFC or love to hate in UFC, but that was wildly popular. She comes to WWE and she's an afterthought. They're booking Becky and Ronda like clowns, like jokes. And I told you that was going to happen back in November. A lot of people didn't want to believe me, but here we are months later, 5-6 weeks away from WrestleMania, and now everyone's been saying, BC, you were right all along. And I think WWE has realized that they've botched this. I honestly think Ronda Rousey went to management, told Vince, told Triple H, I'm not happy with where this is going. I'm not happy with where I'm going. I honestly believe Becky Lynch, even though she calls herself the man, I don't think she had the cojones to go up to Triple H and Vince and say, I don't like where this is going. I really don't. I think Ronda Rousey absolutely has the cojones because she doesn't need this. And I think she fought for where this character is going right now and where this storyline. Because if they're going to keep this going like this, bringing that UFC realism into this, which fits Ronda Rousey perfectly, in which Becky Lynch's character, the man, whether you call it a Conor McGregor knockoff or not, I love it. So what you do, I've been saying this for months now, you have Ronda badass, Becky badass, both strong as hell, nobody hopping along, limping along, both badass, wanting to destroy each other. Until we get to Mania, where it is a sanctioned fight. Not just a wrestling match for a strap, but a fight. And they didn't book it that way. It's been botched. People have turned their backs on this feud. And now it's finally happening. This is all I've wanted for Ronda from day one. This is the storyline that I've wanted from day one. Now all they have to do is get Becky Lynch to give up this leg injury bullshit. I don't care if at Fastlane she shows that her leg was actually fine the past several weeks, and she's walking fine, and she tricked Charlotte Flair, and she defeats Charlotte Flair, and now she's back on 2 legs, ready to be the badass again. I don't care how it's done. This leg injury has to go. But if you're going to give me this to WrestleMania, I'm on board. I would chill on calling wrestling scripted and planned and made up. Even though she didn't use the word fake again, I would chill on using those words because you've already disintegrated kayfabe. We don't need to continue with that now. All right? This is still a profession we still need to protect. That brings me to the biggest obstacle, though. We're talking about how Ronda and Becky can still be salvaged. We can still get something epic in that main event. There's just one big woo problem. And that is Mrs. Woo herself, Charlotte Flair. What is she doing in this match? I'm going to tell you what she's doing. This was Vince McMahon's dream all along. That's why Charlotte Flair defeated Asuka and ended that streak at last year's WrestleMania. Because he saw Charlotte and Ronda at this year's Mania. That's what he wanted and envisioned. So even though she has no business in there this year, in that main event, Vince put her in there because that was his goal for the past year. And that's BS because that proves Vince McMahon has lost the pulse of the business. The business changes by the week. This guy has a plan a year in advance. It's clear the fans don't want to see Charlotte Flair in this match. And now we have something epic finally brewing between Becky and Ronda, and Charlotte's going to be in the middle of this thing, ruining it. The third wheel. 3 is a crowd. It is clear nobody in the WWE bubble, nobody in the professional wrestling world and industry needs Charlotte Flair in that WrestleMania main event. That is the truth. And I'm not even throwing shade on Charlotte because you guys know I actually think she's one of the best performers, women-wise, and maybe on the entire roster, maybe in the entire wrestling world. She's definitely one of the most athletic. And as fast as she has picked up this pro wrestling thing, she's one of the best. So I'm throwing no shade, but in no way, shape, or form should she be in the main event with Becky and Ronda. Especially if for the next 5+ weeks, we're going to get this Ronda Rousey. And if Becky Lynch forgets this leg injury gimmick and starts being a badass again, the man, then we got something cool. And Charlotte's just going to ruin that every which way till WrestleMania and at WrestleMania. So Charlotte right now is going to be the biggest obstacle in what could be epic from here on out. What do you guys think? Do you think Ronda trashed the business to the point where it cannot be It cannot come back from this? Pro wrestling is resilient. It can come back from a lot of things, even if Ronda is calling it straight out, I'm breaking kayfabe because it's scripted, because it's planned, because it's made up in advance. It can bounce back from this. You got the one person, aside from Brock, who that would work with in 4. Aside from Brock, Ronda Rousey is somebody you'd believe isn't playing around with this entertainment thing anymore. Doesn't care about what the fans think anymore. Doesn't want to do the scripted BS from management anymore. And wants to go into business for herself because she thinks her name can write those checks. And bring people's asses into the seats and bring viewers to the product. And as long as management thinks that, she could do and say whatever she wants. I love this character. Again, chill on calling pro wrestling names, but let's just go full throttle with this character. I'm interested to see where it goes, man. Again, the no-selling, the animosity that you can tell is actually for real. Even if they're shaking hands and enjoying a coffee together backstage, Becky and Ronda, there's some underlining animosity there, and it's only going to grow. I know Ronda Rousey was pissed off from a lot of those tweets. You don't put your husband, her husband's face on an arm that is being referenced as a dick, and you're going to be okay with that. But if they can work together a little bit here, or a lot of it, this could be something cool going forward. This could be a match I'm actually starting to look forward to, when for the longest time I told you guys, it's a match I couldn't care less about. And so far, I've been right. So now they're drastically changing the storyline, drastically changing the characters involved. And now you have piqued the amplified man's interest. Again, guys, I had to talk about this now. I wanted to wait till the podcast this weekend. I'm trying to get it out tomorrow morning, the podcast, episode number 10. So be on the lookout for it, guys. But this was too big. I had to talk about it today. So let me know what you guys think, man. This is huge. I have been watching this business, this company especially, for over 30 years. I have never seen something like this involved in a storyline. Let me know what you guys think. Drop it down below. Again, Q&A is coming back, guys, for the podcast this weekend. But I am no longer accepting questions. I've already taken them. I've already actually answered them. I already filmed that segment for the podcast. So sorry. Better luck next time. We also are going to go over the amplified preview for Fastlane in this weekend's podcast. We're going to talk Roman Reigns and all the people that claimed this is fake what he's fighting. Yeah, you might want to rethink that because a lot of facts came out. And Tori Wilson, she's got a lot of naysayers and haters about her going into the Hall of Fame. I created a little bit of a list that's going to befuddle those dumb schmucks as well. So, the Amplified Man, I'll check you guys this weekend for the podcast. For now, you know the deal. Holla at your boy. Peace, because he's out. We'll check you. Need more coffee? Fuck. We got some in there. Vanilla latte, baby.